Today, we've got Janelle back on the show, sold over $100 million in her time on Amazon and other platforms. And now she's working with a lot of celebrities and YouTubers to launch their brands. And she's going to share her best brand building strategies with you all today. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I'm your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And as we do, we start off these episodes with a serious strategy. And one thing, hope you guys know that in Helium 10, there is a full inventory management tool. And that's exactly how I am able to manage all of my accounts in just a couple of minutes a week, making sure I don't run out. I don't have too much inventory in Amazon. So if you guys want to find out more information about our inventory management, go to h10.me/inventory management, h10.me/inventory management. And now we've got somebody who has done everything from inventory management to launching brands to working with celebrities and whatnot. We got Janelle back. I believe this is the third time you're now on our show. Welcome back, Janelle.
Hey, thank you, Bradley. It's a pleasure. I always enjoy shooting the bull with you and learning what you've been up to too.
I love it. I love it. Now, in the past, you've been on episodes. By the way, if anybody wants to check out her full backstory, episode 294 and episode 401, you can hear about how she, was working for companies that were doing 9 figures a year on Amazon. We talked about stuff like my love for red iguana, Mexican food from her Salt Lake, where she's at now. But we want to catch up because we haven't had you on since like December of 2022. So, around that time, you were talking a lot about how you had done this crazy Shopify launch that did $500,000 in a weekend, and you were doing Kickstarter launches and stuff like that. So since that time, what has been your main things like, in 2023 and now almost halfway through 2024?
Wow, gosh, I didn't realize it's been so long since we last talked. So last year, I would say in 2023, I think I did over 6 or 7 new brand launches, and even like brand new brands and also new products. And they were all 6 to 7 figure launches, Shopify. And then we moved to Amazon. I've been partnering with YouTube celebrities, I guess you would call them, YouTubers and celebrities, to build products and brands. And that's what I've been doing. So, we could probably include links to a lot of those products or whatever would be the easiest way if people wanted to go check them out. But we did a power tool line, Athena Power Tools. We've done more products with Matt's Off-Road Recovery. If anyone's familiar with that YouTuber, super, super fun channel. We did shop shades with John Malecki. He's an incredible carpenter, woodworker. He does like live edge furniture and those river tables. We launched these sexy, like protective eyewear, personal protective eyewear. Cause safe is sexy. And usually like if you think about traditionally eyewear, like for people who are in the woodworking industry, they're like ugly. They're hideous. They're these big plastic goggles and nobody wears them. So, he even noticed in his own shop, like my people aren't wearing their protective eyewear. Heck, I don't even want to wear my protective eyewear. It was kind of his thing. So he came to me with this idea, like, I want to make like, the Oakley or like the sexy shop shade. So maybe we'll throw some links because these products, they turned out beautiful. The branding, which, I kind of love, that's my thing. Mm-hmm. I want to make it super sexy, super cool and create the story that, gets people to open up their wallets and buy. So I'm just trying to think there was, Dr. Ekberg, we launched his supplement line, did incredible. So Uvexia. So I'll throw those links because I always think it's so helpful for people to see. I think when you do a killer launch, you got to have a killer video. You got to have a great brand, the look and feel, the storytelling. And if they just go to my landing pages and check it out, I think maybe they'll get some ideas for their brands.
Okay. Now, you're talking about brand building. That's actually part of your module that you recently recorded for the new Freedom Ticket 4.0. Anybody who's a Helium 10 member can go get that module. But what were some of the main points from there as far as brand building, and why do you think it's probably more important than ever before here in 2024 to talk about this subject?
Yeah. I think, definitely go check out the module. But for me, that's the only way I know how to build and sell brands is I build a brand. Like I didn't come to Amazon the traditional way. Some people they use tools to look up like what the top selling products are, and they try to enter into, the market and create something that already has search demand. I always began with the customer and thinking about a problem that I have, or when I partner with say a celebrity or YouTuber, there's usually, like I was just saying with John, a problem that he wants to solve. Like, hey man, I don't want to wear my personal protective eyewear because it's hot, ugly, and I can't see through it. And I look like a goon. And I'm on YouTube trying to look cool. So I don't want to wear this. So that's what we call an itch that we want to scratch, or a problem that we want to solve. I always tell someone, if you've got a problem that you want solved, there's chance that there's a lot of people like you out there that also want to solve that problem. And so that's how I approach a brand. Building a brand is, first, let's solve a problem for a person. And I keep that person in mind, because then when you're trying to think, well, which product should I launch next? It's like, well, what other problems does a person, a carpenter or a woodworker have that I can solve? Because John is the avatar. He's intimately acquainted with all the frustrations or the opportunities within the realm of a serious or even just a hobbyist woodworker. And so, the next product he starts talking about that he gets passionate about, he's like, man, I want like a pocket chisel. Like, yeah, you have like pocket knives that like, like a switchblade or things like that. Like, guys like tools. It's like a power tool, but this is like not a power tool. It's like a cool, like, can you imagine when you're doing woodworking, like a chisel is just kind of like a boring tool, but it's actually something they use a lot when you're doing like live edge type furniture work. So why not make a pocket chisel, like something almost like a switchblade that becomes super cool and fun that people would geek out about if you're a woodworker, And so you have this ability to start creating stories and products to serve that person that you can geek out about. I just got off a consult I was doing with a client that they own, basically they're a wholesaler of ATV parts, the side-by-sides, stuff like Polaris, Polaris Hondas and stuff. And, they were asking for brand help because they're like, we just feel like we're just hawking wares all day long. We really want to be a brand. So I spent the hour talking to them, like, how could this, I almost said the client name, but how could you become like the Tesla in, the side-by-side space? That's what they want to be. They want to be the premium go-to, like cutting edge innovation. Like if you are into ATVs, this is the brand for you, because they have everything and anything under the sun. And the way that they teach and educate and innovate is going to be, heads and shoulders above everybody else, instead of just selling a bunch of parts on Amazon or on their website. Yeah. So that's what we're working to create. What's the story going to be? How do we convey that in our messaging? What's the look and feel? Like, who is our avatar? So we spent the whole time fleshing that out, and they're excited now. Now they have a very clear direction on what type of content they're going to create, what type of ads, like messaging to attract that ideal customer. And also we created a product roadmap for them. Like, where do we go next with our line extensions that will best serve this person that we now have in mind with everything that we do in our brand? So we create this movement kind of a thing.
You've talked about, working with YouTubers, celebrities and stuff. And obviously I think when people come with that personal brand awareness, it's a leg up on the competitions. Like you've already got a bunch of raving fans, and it doesn't necessarily have to be celebrities. Everybody might have some kind of specialty. I used to do the Zumba stuff, and so I had probably a small following on YouTube and stuff, and so that would have been something where, first of all, just like you said, I would have known the pain points that maybe other Zumba instructors had, or people dancing Zumba, and then I already had the initial following. So I always think that if somebody does have something, yes, you should double down. That being said, let's flip the switch. I'm sure you have clients who are not celebrities, so they're not YouTubers, they're not famous. So how do you? And that's actually most of our listeners, potentially might not have a following. So if I'm just Joe entrepreneur, Sally entrepreneur, sitting out there listening to this podcast, how can I do what you just said, but where I kind of maybe don't have that head start on the audience and the people who know me, et cetera?
Love it. That's a great question. So like, there's people that you can hire that do this, right? You can do it yourself. You can reinvent the wheel. Like, I have a vast network now. So when I am working with clients, I usually will just be like, hey, here's my guy that will build your influencer marketing program in-house. Like, we're going to use him. Like, I have options. Like, we can do the training. I can show you how we've built it out, and you can do this, or I can bring in this guy and he will do it in 3 months, and it's this amount of investment, and you will have like a fully blown out like gifting program, influencer marketing program, which honestly today, like, it's the fastest way to grow a brand, like influencer marketing. So if you don't have the audience, you aren't the influence, and you don't partner with one, you've got to build out an influencer program. And there's a lot of people that take, use Join Brands, or use drawing a blank on all the 50,000 I've used over the years, but really there's so many softwares now you can use, and to have someone in-house all day long just reaching out and doing gifting and getting influencer content. Because the thing with the influencer marketing, why it's so beautiful, is not only do you get these people posting on your behalf about your product, but they also create content for you that you can amplify with paid. You can run ads behind it. That's the best type of content, and the highest converting ad material that you're going to get is content from actual people using your products and talking about what they love about it. Social proof built right in. So brands I think that everyone knows that that's what you need to do now to like generate traffic, generate brand awareness. And Amazon to me is like this ecosystem. I always think of a wheel, right? And there's all these different sales channels, and Amazon is just one spoke in that wheel. It's a very important spoke, but your website's a spoke. Walmart.com's a spoke. You've got retail, you've got affiliates, you've got, I mean, how many other places that you sell? I don't know. I've sold on so many different marketplaces, Temu, TikTok Shop. There's so many spokes now, and I don't like to have just one that I rely on. All of these make my wheel run true, right? And spin like a flywheel, and I can get speed. So when I think about that, and with influencer marketing, anytime we build out this influencer wheelhouse, which we need, or influencer marketing program, they're going to be driving sales on Amazon, website, Temu, TikTok. It doesn't matter. I am sales channel agnostic. What I am doing primarily when I build a brand is I'm creating desire, demand, and a movement so people can buy wherever they want to buy. Okay. So influencer marketing today it's just how we market best. It's how I do it. It's been very successful.
Okay. Let's say I don't have that huge of a budget. Is TikTok the most economical way to find potential influencers? Instagram, or should I go use one of those services?
Yeah. So Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of those, like, influencers are on a lot of different platforms. I really like having a well diversified, like just how I diversify in my investments. Yeah, have influencers on all types of platforms. But how to go find them? I mean, you're going to need to have. I say, if you want to launch a brand, you're going to need to have a budget to give away product or get product in people's hands. Like, you should plan on that. That's why sometimes, I see all these gurus on, whatever, YouTube or in my feed running ads saying you can make millions, starting an Amazon business and, with only $2,000 investment. And I'm just like, man, that's so not true. You need you need money to get the product and the development, and you got to buy inventory. And then you're going to have a budget to give product, get product in people's hands to get some feedback or just some traction, or you got to pay for it. You have to generate sales somehow, or you have to generate awareness somehow. That's paid or that's organic, or you can use your time. I do want to suggest, and I've done this the scrappy way, because I have more money than time now, I will short circuit things by paying ads. It's the fastest way to generate traffic. Buy it, sure. Right? If you have more time than you have money, then there's organic strategies that work incredibly well. I mean, 10 years ago, how I built my brands when I had no influencer marketing like strategy, and I had no celebrities I was partnering with, is I was literally in Facebook communities, on Reddit, and I was posting in communities that had people like me. I knew where my avatar was. So, like, let's just say right now I'm working on that celebrity line with the Huffs. They're dancers, right? Let's pretend that I didn't have celebrities, but I wanted to create a supplement line for artistic athletes or dancers. Yes. I would be on every subreddit right now that has, artistic athletes or dancers in there, hip hop, Zumba, like you said, salsa, cha-cha, tango. And I'd be talking about my product and what I've developed and what I'm working on. I'd start just from conception, taking them through that whole journey. I think there's been some great books written over the years, like Show Your Work, Build Out Loud, like taking them along on the journey, getting feedback the whole way so that I start building that audience, right? And then also Facebook, there's groups. There's so many Facebook groups about dancing. Right now I'm working with a brand that does flavoring, right? And so we're in every group that has a bakers, confectioners, like coffee makers, anyone that's like would use flavoring. We're in there. We're asking questions all the time about a new flavor we're developing, wondering if anyone has any, new flavors they want developed. We ask them about pricing. We ask them about bundles. And people are like, oh, you can't make sales, posts in those groups or you get kicked out. I'm like, yeah, don't make sales posts. Get in there and ask questions like I'm just doing. I'm like, literally just put together what I call a Mother's Day bundle. And I wanted to ask the group, what would you pay, for these products? If I put them in a Mother's Day bundle, like what would be the discount that you think would be like motivating, to grab this? And are these the 3 flavors that you think most mothers would like based on, the flavors that we offer? That post gets through all day long, and I have all these people telling me what they think I should add, for my Mother's Day, or the essential baking, flavors that should be included in the bundle. You just got to be strategic. I think people are so like intellectually lazy, or they're just looking for excuses to not have to do something. They're like, oh, that doesn't work. I'm like, man, you're pathetic. Like, you couldn't figure out how to make that work. Like, just put a little elbow grease into that. So much free traffic. So now I don't do that anymore with my time, but it's one of the first hires I make is a VA that's just my organic poster in these forums, adding value. They're in there answering questions. I think about you guys. I think Helium 10 did this so well originally, and you still do it. You're in these Amazon groups and even in your own groups that you've cultivated on Facebook, answering questions. When somebody asks a question, you count on Bradley answering it. I know you're not maybe doing that anymore, but you have people doing it. That's huge for the brand. Any business, you can build a business like that in the industry. When I just built my marketing company, that's what I was doing. I was in Chamber of Commerce answering posts, answering questions. I literally helped a guy I was dating. He was an electrician, and he was like, I don't have a business. I'm like, dude, get on Facebook in your county, and every little like real estate group, anyone that asks an electrical question, you have someone that is just chiming in and answering and adding value. Like, you will have so much business coming out your eyeballs. It works. So just get in there and start organically drumming up your business if you don't have a lot of money, but you have more time.
Let's say I'm going ahead and I'm going to push forward with this plan. Supplements, the supplements that you've done, the other products that you've been doing. What are your main marketplaces you're starting off? Like you said, there's like 20 marketplaces probably nowadays. Even Target now, is starting something. Obviously, there's Walmart, there's TikTok Shop, there's eBay, Etsy, Amazon. Like Shopify, WooCommerce, whatever. Do you have like a set 2 or 3 that you suggest launching on? Because it sounds like, unless I'm mistaken here, that you rarely do something that's exclusively Amazon or exclusively one marketplace. So what are like your 2, 3, 4 go-to marketplaces for somebody to start?
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So if it's a celebrity launch, or a YouTuber, someone with an audience already, and I know I'm going to do 6 figures or $1 million, it's always Shopify. Because we control the audience. We have a list, or we have a channel, like a platform we're going to be posting on. We're going to control that flow of traffic. And the best place to do that is on your own, website. So we drive them to Shopify. I've done Kickstarters. I do have strategies for Kickstarters that I will talk about maybe some other time. Just send them to your website. Shopify now allows pre-sales too. So even if you're nervous, you don't know, will I get enough funding, or I want to pre-sell it? You can do a pre-sale. The shop shades that I'll maybe include a link to, that was all a pre-sale that we did. We didn't know how many units we'd want to initially order, how much interest there would be, but we blew it out of the water. So, but we did that pre-sale. So Shopify is number one. Even if you didn't have any audience at all, then I'd probably say launch on Amazon, right? Because you're going to steal keyword traffic. You're going to be basically take the hot dog stand, and instead of sitting it in your cul-de-sac where nobody's at, you're going to go to the state fair and put your hot dog stand out. You're going to sell a lot more stuff. So even with celebrity launches, if you do Shopify, whatever, or influencer, you have an audience, it's definitely Shopify or whatever, your own website. I don't care if it's WordPress, but I really just love Shopify now because I just know the suite of apps that I need to install for everything for optimization and, increasing average order value and my ATV and I just have my little toolbox for high converting, Shopify sites. But I know some people like a WordPress site, fine. But go to Amazon for sure. We list everything on Amazon because there's just still a subset of people that want to buy everything on Amazon. It's just so easy for them, and we call those halo sales. Even with my celebrities and my YouTube launches, we still have a large portion of the people that will go over to Amazon, even though it's not listed yet. And you can see that in Helium 10. You can see the branded search. So when I launched Uvexia, that's a brand new brand. Nobody had heard of it. This is Dr. Sten. He has a pretty large following, a couple million on YouTube. They went, and we see all of a sudden Helium 10, Uvexia, has searches overnight shooting up, right? So we created that brand demand. And, we weren't on Amazon yet because we didn't have product shipped in there. We just launched on our website. So yeah, we probably lost some sales, people who wanted to buy it on Amazon. Maybe you can say, well, maybe everyone who wanted it actually ended up buying on your site. But I do believe a lot of people won't buy on a website. They're just especially the older generation. They don't want to put their credit card in. They don't want to have another password they have to remember, whatever. So I just think you're silly to not list on Amazon. And I have strategies that, we have one of my very large brands. We will hold back certain products that we don't list on Amazon because we still want that consumer to come to our website ultimately so that we can capture their information. We can pixel them. We can remarket to them. And so some of our best SKUs or our limited editions won't ever go on Amazon because people have to go buy that on our website. So there's different strategies you can use, but just make sure they're the halo sales that you will get on Amazon, especially as you incorporate influencer marketing, you start doing paid media, creating some organic, where you're blogging or you're doing YouTube and you're just driving your own traffic. You'll have people that will still go to the Amazon looking for your product, that halo sales, and you want to be there to capture it. So website, Amazon, those are the top 2. If you didn't do anything else, you'd probably be just great. You're probably capturing 80% of the market. I then will usually move to other Amazon places first. I'll go to Walmart.com usually. It just depends. A lot of my brands, because we're in the beauty space, we can't be on Walmart if we also want to be in Ulta or Sephora. So we have to keep that in mind. So Walmart.com is not always where I can go, but I do like to go to Walmart.com if I can. And then it's expanding Amazon Canada, Amazon UK. Those are my order that I go to. I haven't played around with many other marketplaces. I know it seems that everyone starts being like, oh, you should do Amazon India and there's Amazon Japan. I tried a couple of those. It was very minimal return. Not saying it won't ever work, but for me right now, no, I don't have anyone on Brazil, Japan. So, yeah.
You mentioned Shopify being the first place to go. So obviously, the beauty about Amazon is got that existing traffic. Shopify, you won't get one visit unless there's some kind of outside force happening. So what's some of your main methods as far as getting that initial traffic? You made a new website. How am I sending people to my Shopify store?
Yeah. I love YouTube. I think you probably remember, I think before I was even an Amazon, I don't want to refer to myself as an Amazon guru. People always call me Amazon guru, but before Amazon was like a big thing that I, spent a lot of time teaching people how to do well. YouTube was my thing. And I still love YouTube. I still do. In fact, today I did a consult for YouTube channel strategy. I've done built a lot of channels and brands on YouTube. And I think YouTube's one of the greatest ways to drive traffic. And same thing with blogging. You can do that with content, articles, you can write. So a strong SEO strategy where you're bringing in traffic to your website. So I'm a big content creation junkie because it works. So people will say, oh, I tried YouTube. I didn't get any traffic. I'm like, you have to understand YouTube is an algorithm just like Amazon. And you know how Helium 10 has great courses teaching you how to understand the A9 algorithm. YouTube has the exact same thing. There's courses. I have courses we teach, we consult. There's lots of people out there that do that, can teach you how to build a YouTube strategy to drive traffic to wherever you want them to go. Usually it's your website. So, and a lot of that YouTube strategy also will carry over to Halo sales on Amazon. So that's probably my favorite way: influencer marketing, and content creation, your own content creation. The brand should always be creating content and educating to drive sales. Like, that's how you control your destiny. You add value, you teach people why they should use your product, you help them solve their problems, you help them scratch their itch. You become the go-to person and the trusted brand in your space.
You mentioned some steps as far as finding these pain points and stuff, going into Reddit and going into Facebook groups, but talk more about your process before the actual product is made. Are you doing a lot of samples? Are you just getting some 20 samples and actually testing it in the market? Are you just deciding that on your own? Are you getting focus groups? Like, what's your entire process about that goes from, hey, finding that initial pain point to validating it and then all the way up to actually having a product?
Yeah. This is funny because I do now because I understand the value of creating the story. But I guess I've been in marketing long enough that I know the power of a story, and a story well told. So I always just say stories sell, right? And so I guess I know that I can tell a story that will be compelling. And when I first started, my very first brand was a toy brand. And I just knew I would crush it because the story was like kids were sitting around on their iPads and playing video games all day. And this was like in 2014 when everyone's like, there was no esports team. There wasn't kids making millions of dollars, playing video games. It was like grandma and mom were so deathly concerned that their kids were all going to have their brains turned to mush. And so I create this Kickfire Classics brand line, and the whole story is just going to be like good old fashioned fun. Get your kids off their butts and outside of playing. And I knew that if I ran ads in front of every mom and grandma about these classic toys that they could get Johnny to get him off the, iPad, and you get outside, flying a kite or playing with juggling balls or, the Diablo, it would sell. It was just, I didn't need to do market validation. That whole sentiment existed. I was a mom and I hung out with moms and they were all having the same, battle cry of like, our kids are, they don't know how to get outside and have fun. So that was, I launched the brand. I told that story and it crushed, and then my second brand was a weight loss supplement. And I'm like, I understand as a woman living in America, like everyone wants to be thin, and you have to bust your butt to stay thin. And if you can create a meal replacement weight loss shake that tastes good, that helps people lose weight, and you tell that story and you have, results, it's going to sell. So I guess I don't really ever go into a market. I've never Even now, I'm like right now with this celebrity supplement, like we have created the whole product line, the core four, and we're doing a stack, right? And I work with Derek and Julianne Huff, who are these beautiful artistic athletes, and they're very well known in the space. I think that's easy because they have followers and they're going to, no matter what they say, we could probably, one of our investors is like, you could just, bottle dog poop and put it in a bottle and people would buy it. I mean, that's not what we want to do, but that's how well known they are and trusted in the space. But I really don't even think we had to validate anything, but because I understand the power of story and I want to build a movement and a community, I am getting people involved. I am getting their audience to, we are doing what we call a pilot run, which is not everybody does. It's kind of more expensive. It's unheard of, and I wouldn't say unheard of. A lot of people, it's heard of, but people don't do it because of the extra time and cost. I want to do it as part of the story because Derek and Julianne, this works for them, but I want to get it into the hands of their top dancers. Like Derek's on tour right now and he's got, his like 50 to 100 dancers with him. What if I can get all of them using this right now and giving us feedback? That's going to create content. That's going to create story. And I just want on tour for the media to see all of his dancers backstage pouring their little powder packets from the foil and being like, what is this stuff that everyone's taking? It's kind of creating that curiosity and building hype. So I'm doing this strategically for my own PR, but I don't need to do this. But I want to make the story better, if that makes sense. It's like Paulo Acosta, who does, his secret juice. And he has that bottle and he has secret juice written on the outside. If you don't know who he is, he's a UFC fighter. Just Google it. He drinks that and everyone wants to know what the hell is in that juice that he's drinking. It's brilliant. It creates such a stir. And you know what? It's like, we're going to go launch him a supplement drink. And then everyone's going to know what was in that dang bottle, right? So that's the thought behind it. We're going to build that curiosity. That's the beauty of a product launch when you can build that, like everyone's kind of excited. They know you've been working on something. I started posting and teasing out content with Derek and Julianne just on my own socials and they're teasing it out. And that's going to be a part of the huge build up to the launch. If you have an audience, that works great. If you don't have an audience, this also works really well to build the audience as you go along because people want to be a part of something and feel like they're helping create this product.
What is just some other just general strategy? It can be about anything you want to talk about that hey, our audience could probably learn a thing or two from your experience.
Gosh, sometimes I really enjoyed your session that you did at BDSS. It was more like life stuff. I think sometimes we all talking about, business, and you talked about your like near-death experience. I'm going to say near-death. You died. You literally died and you got brought back to life, right? So I think just like the longer, and maybe this happens as we get older, like we're more generative. We start thinking about like, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? Like, I know like earlier when I was in the grind, I was a single mom with 4 kids under the age of 5, like hustling, working like 4 or 5 jobs. Like I had to bust my ass to get where I am. Right. And now I feel like I'm really just so blessed or lucky or whatever it is. I've been very fortunate in my career. I play a lot of pickleball. I get to travel the world. I spend a lot of time with kids. I work with incredible brands, incredible people. And I think just remembering that, like I don't know, you do have to pay the dues. You have to work hard, but we're doing it all for a reason. There can be joy. I've always been happy. I can look back in every phase and it's not like I was like, man, that period of my life sucked. It was like that building was super incredible. And to be where I am now and to look back, it even makes it such an even more happy memory to be like, I busted my ass and I'm here now and it was all worth it. And I love what I'm doing. And I even love the hard part, shoveling manure in the trenches. And so I just maybe reminding people that like, remember why you're doing it. Like, and if you're not enjoying the doing of it, when you get to where you're trying to go, it won't be all of a sudden beautiful. Like there has to be that magic along the way. I don't know. I just think if you wake up too many days in a row thinking that I don't want to do this, like you're not doing the right thing. And then I don't know what comes next. I don't know if there's another life. And I just want to be able to say this life, I lived my best life. And so whatever that means for you, just take a moment to look at your life and how you're living. And is this your best life? And are there any changes that you need to make? Because you almost didn't have a second chance, and it's over. And I think you have a new perspective. I have a new perspective. I lost a lot of people I love just in the last few years to cancer. They died young. And I'm so grateful I'm alive. And I don't take that for granted. Every day I'm just like, it is a gift. And I love making money, but I
always got to remember the more important things, like sometimes we can get caught up in the whole business and entrepreneurial, journey and stuff. And we forget about what really matters at the end of the day. So that's a good, good advice. I like that. Yep. Favorite Helium 10 tool?
I'm like magnet. I'm just like the keyword research tool for me is just like I go look up all the time. I think this is the one I use the most. And all my employees is like, did you do the keyword research? Like, what does it look like? And you get ideas too. Like when I'm doing keyword research, I can see like, whoa, this is a good product extension. Like, in the search results, when I see like the other day I was doing, with Glamnetic, we're doing some press on nail launches. And I was just like, oh, like people are looking, they're calling them false nails. Like I never really even heard of that, word. I thought it was press on nails or fake nails, but false nails. So I just think it's a treasure trove. Not only you can get product ideas from there. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do a whole new line that's like optimized for false, that whole word. Cause there's like hundreds of thousands of searches that can, aggregate on that right there. So I think it's important.
You mentioned, so many different things that you've been working on. How can people maybe, find you on the interwebs out there or see a couple of these projects you're working on either in social or just websites out there? Yeah. Throw out some websites.
Yeah. Okay. So JanellePage.com is my website. And then there's also on that website, you'll see like, I probably should update it, but there's a lot of projects I've worked on that website. So it's JANELLEPAGE, like a page in the book.com. You can go there. And then like shopshades.com, Uvexia is EUVEXIA.com, Athena Power Tools. Let's see, Vital Kind. We don't have our website up yet, but in a couple months, you'll be able to see Derek and Julianne's brand that we'll be launching. Working right now with some really big pickleball pros. We're launching a pickleball line. So that'll be exciting. Don't have the name yet, but I'll start posting about that as we develop it. We have our kickoff meeting on Monday. And I don't know if we put anything in the notes. Oh, Matt's Off-Road Recovery. You can check out that. RobbieLayton.com. M1 Motorsports. That's our motorcycle line. Glamnetic's a great line. Gee, is that good enough? They can all be like,
that's good. That's great stuff. I'm sure people will be able to get some ideas and take a look at what
tell them to check out Dolce Foglia. That one's a hard one to spell, but that one and Flavor Frenzy, they're beautiful because they were originally Amazon brands that didn't have a clue about D2C, and I helped them build out their D2C strategy, and we're crushing, and B2B. So we built out that whole thing. So Dolce Foglia is like DOLCE. Foglia is FOGLIA.com. And you can go see the beautiful website we've built. Just think how fun, because if a lot of the listeners are Amazon only brands, I want them to see like what you can do. They went from Amazon. Now they have a true e-commerce. We have full build out of like SEO strategy and influencer marketing. And we built out the B2B side. It'll link you over to their B2B Flavor Frenzy and maybe just get you excited about the potential. This was like literally just an Amazon brand that's now crushing on all different platforms. And we're moving into like Temu and all these other different, I guess I didn't talk about any of those. Like a lot of other countries have marketplaces that are like bigger than Amazon as we start to list there. So
that's maybe something we can see in a year when we have you back on the show and see how those marketplaces are doing. I know a lot of them are making a lot of noise out there. So it'll be interesting.
You bet.
All right. Well, Janelle, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I look forward to we can hang out in person soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Bradley.